Greetings and God bless. I just have an idea and I wanted to pass it by anybody who might have some thoughts. So many cities. I mean, I'm talking about like I was in Rapid City, South Dakota. Right now I'm in Colorado. I haven't been in Portland, Oregon, San Francisco in a while. New York, I wouldn't say it's so much in New York, but these more unremarkable cities that still are getting talked up online. You hear people talking up South Dakota or, um, just like the non glamorous, like the third tier cities, places in Montana and whatnot. Anyways, I would say that so we have there's been a homeless problem for decades, maybe centuries or whatever. And with the property managers, the, excuse me, the international investors buying up properties and warehousing them, not renting them out, along with the Airbnb stuff going on, and the few landlords that are renting, they're expecting to get paid, 1,500 for a slum in an area where entry level workers cannot afford that. And I know everybody's like, "Oh, well, that entry level worker should get three jobs so they can pay that $1,500 for a slum, that they won't have anything, you know, as a result." So aside from that, callous insanity of expecting entry level workers to do three horrible jobs just to make 1,500 or $2,000 a month. Um, so there's all this homelessness, and I just keep on seeing this class warfare, where like people who are doing entrepreneurs that are successful online, they keep bashing the entry level worker. They're bashing the entry level worker that doesn't want to work in an unregulated business, because that's what's happening. OSHA is not protecting workers unless there's like murders and rapes going on in public and it's been recorded by hundreds of people. Now, murders have been going on in a certain industry, and it's probably been physically recorded, and actuaries and other, if we looked at insurance statistics for executions paid by Medicare, we probably find a lot more evidence. But nobody cares. Nobody's caring. Nobody cares about anybody, except for a handful of people that want to get into heaven and know that God is watching. But anyway, so we have this housing crisis that appears to be engineered, and international investors are warehousing property. Um, domestic are also, or the Airbnb kicks in so they can make $100 to $300 per room for whatever event. And so that creates so they're greedy. I mean, the nicest people, some of these homeowners that are renting for the Airbnb or whatever, they're just incredibly greedy, and their reward will be in this world, but not in the next one. But anyway, so with the past couple of years, so we have this homeless problem, okay, that's been just engineered and festering for decades. And it's exacerbated, and especially by the past few years. And with the Marxism that's been going on, and this backlash against any type of protection, regulation, um, and I'm not a big fan of um, authority, but there hasn't been any moral authority going on, and so uh, so there's these downtowns that are like everything is about tourism. It seems like most cities, they don't necessarily have anything really to offer. They're not raising, animals. They're not crafting whatever, because all of those things are being um, targeted, like destroyed. If you look at ranchers and stuff, like um, the meat packing plants are bought out by other countries, and so they raise prices and make it so the ranchers do not even make a profit off of the animal that they've raised for 2 years. So there's like this warfare going on against commerce, against the people who are actually bringing value to the world. Um, I would say the entry level worker who is delivering the coffee, who is running the cashier, who's the cashier at your grocery store, at your gas station. I know everybody likes to back people, and yeah, these people who are entry level workers, they're not the greatest customer service. They don't know all the answers because they're making the bare minimum and they are not getting the best nutrition and support, and they're working in toxic environments. So yeah, not all pissed. We're not. We don't have genius customer service people working at the gas station when you go there at 3 in the morning, because this somebody's at least somebody's there. But anyways, so there's this warfare that I noticed going on on the entry level working class person, and also on the homeless. And yeah, I'm not crazy about the drug addict person or the person with the um, malignant toxic narcissism that's exiled them from their family and friends. Yeah, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle being around it. But my point is, and I'm sorry I'm going so much background, but so all these cities, every city has an industry of tourism. Not every city, but a lot of cities have some sort of like tourist, economy that seems to be the product now. It's not raising animals, creating a product, or providing a service other than being tourist. Having tourism, having Airbnb, or hotels. So so with the homelessness that's out of whack, like, so cities aren't taking care of their homeless, they're not taking care of the drug addiction, they're not um, doing any kind of managing crime. I mean, if you look at in the headlines, there's always something going on. I do believe it's important for people to practice situational awareness, and to if you're in like some dangerous situation, number one, don't be in that dangerous situation. When I lived in crazy parts of the country, like the demons started coming out at three or 4 in the afternoon, and I was not out at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And if people insist on putting themselves in harm, you get the results of that, and it's yeah. So please be smart, people. All right. And it's good to pray, have Jesus in your life. But I am wondering, so like uh cities become so hostile, like the tourist area parts of cities become so unpleasant, um because nobody's cleaning up the trash, like the physical trash, the debris. And there's all these like whacked out homeless people, these drug addicts, and they look like we're they're not wearing clothes, or they're not wearing shoes, or you're seeing people shoot up, or you're seeing prostitution, or it's like a nightmare. uh you know and so I'm wondering if some cities, especially ones that have bad weather, difficult weather, inclement weather, if they I wonder if they are paying actors to look like they're having fun. Because I mean, I intrepid and like interest going on locally, but with how unpleasant city streets are, and yeah, there will be like I'll see like somebody who's supposed to be some sort of guardian or whatever, and they never seem to be where all the homeless people are. They never seem to be where the weird thing, the scary thing that's happening. I don't know. It's just a strange thing, and I don't want to blame them. I mean, at least there's something there. But I just wonder if so cities are deliberately being negligent, because everybody. everybody is voting, yes, let's have $1 billion or $5 billion or $30 billion. Let's do this for homelessness. I've been hearing people talk about it. So that money, billions of dollars, that's something, but it's going into somebody else's pocket, and it's not local, it's not going into housing, because what needs to be done is buy up the hotels that have been shut down and make them like these are pre-existing. I've seen many different cities with a cool, it used to be an apartment complex or it used to be a hotel, and it was shut down probably to make things worse in the city. Because when you shut down affordable housing, that person who is just barely making it, then ends up on the street, because homeless shelters are not sustainable, unless you're, I don't know, unless you're made of a certain type of, you know caliber. Um, so, anyways, so there's money that's being, corruptedly stolen. It's never helping homeless people because, uh, the little bit that I have looked for homeless care, it's the barest minimum that one would have expected to see 30 years ago. Like there is no advances that are being provided for homeless people. Maybe there's services, I don't know, but for mothers with families and stuff like that. Um, but that's not the majority of who I'm talking about, of who I'm seeing on the street. And this is nationally. I mean, I've traveled all around the country, and yeah. So I just wonder, cities want to be a tourist attraction. They want that. They want that tourism money, but they make the city so unpleasant, unpleasant for tourists, unpleasant for locals, especially. I mean, the cities could care less about security that locals have, in light of the homeless people, and it's just, and the thing is, you can have police that are walking the streets. Don't have them in the car. Like they don't see anything. They don't do anything. They're busy chit chatting, whatever. I don't know. But I think I grew up in New York City, and you would see police every once in a while. I mean, when I went back to New York this summer, there were a lot of police on corners when there was a parade or something, or even just because it was 42nd Street and Broadway or something like that. Like, you need people, you need the police to be walking on the street every day in the shady parts of town, not in the nice rich parts of town. Because that's what I see too. Is like there'll be police when there's never going to be any kind of trouble, but they're not where the folks that are breaking the law. That are I know some police people might be like, well, we don't get support. I don't know. I mean, I like so it's like that story about the guy who dropped his keys in the bushes, but he's looking under the street lamp. I mean, so you know, I mean, I I guess the world we live in is the people who deserve support are not getting support. Nobody's getting support. Moms aren't getting the support they need. Dads aren't getting the support they need. You know, bosses aren't getting the support they need, employees aren't getting the support they need. Regular good human beings aren't getting the support they need. You know what? Nobody's getting the support they need. There is no justice. But if you are an honorable person, and we are in this fallen world, there is no justice. It is anarchy. And it's becoming entirely apparent that not only is it anarchy, it's becoming a demonized anarchy. So, choose where, what you want your legacy to be. um that you stood at the light when the keys are in the bushes. And I'm not saying, be in a dangerous situation. Just I don't know, like, uh I mean, number one, I think if landowners, property owners, property managers, investors of real estate, like, stop being so greedy, and like this Airbnb thing and warehousing of rentals, or houses, like that needs to stop. There's a housing crisis and it is out of control. And that is creating this domino effect of homeless people. Like people love to bash homeless people. They love to say that they're mentally ill, irresponsible, disgusting addicts. And I suspect that there's a lot of people who are professional and, people that you know and love that are you're friends with, or even your family members that are actually homeless, but they're just navigating things, and maybe they're, you know, being creative and, um, but not all of the monstrous homelessness that we see is not the entirety. And anyway, just because homelessness is ugly, it's disgusting, it's repellent, do we um, just allow it to be there? Like, do we not do anything? I was commenting on a Reddit forum, and people were like, "That's just how it is. Get over it. Leave if you don't like it." And just like bashing me for just observing. And I think something needs to change. I mean, at the very least, cities need prayer, and the homeless people need prayer. um, we fight not flesh and blood, but principalities. But anyway, yeah, I think that this is deliberate. I think cities, I mean, because it's just the only city that I don't think is quite as deliberate is New York City. I mean, yes, I saw homelessness there, but number one, people did not seem out of their minds. And pot was just legalized this summer, but even though everywhere it smelled like pot, it was horrible. I didn't like it. But and yeah, there were some whacked out homeless people, but it wasn't like demon possessed. Like I mean, when I was living in San Francisco, there was a lot of homelessness there too, and it was like zombies. You'd be in certain parts of the area, and see emaciated people just shuffling like it was a zombie apocalypse. And that's horrible. It's just psychically, it's horrible to see um, people become shells of human beings and whatnot. But anyways, I just think shame on any city official that is 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 exacerbating the homeless problem, that is stealing the money that's meant for the homeless, that's neglecting opportunities. I mean, I'm sure that there's solutions, and uh, and it's just clear that there's just no intention. Like the decision makers have no intention of helping, and I mean nationwide. I'm not just saying like one city in particular, because I just keep seeing it. I keep seeing that there's like, wow, there's all this real estate here, this hotel here and this hotel there in different cities, and there's no housing, but uh, they're just going to build more $1 million housing for millionaires. Like that's all that happens. Like there'll be money allocated for low income housing or whatever, and then it's just turned into $1 million housing because the city just wants the property taxes. So it's like this bait and switch. There's no accountability. um so anyways, and I'm like I have no interest in going to local city downtown events, because I'm like, it's gonna be gross and disgusting and psychically traumatizing to see what I'm gonna see if I go down there. And um you know and these cities try to hype, oh, it's a great, like our little event is so great, it's one of the best in the country. And I think they're lying, or maybe events are so bad that this is passes for a great event. But I got to say, I think New York somehow, I don't New York is really blessed, because yes, it has homelessness and it's got a terrible rat infestation. I've never seen anything like it. Like it's like a horror movie in terms of the rats there, especially at night in certain parts of the city. But despite all that, there's still this liveliness. It still happens to be magnetic, and I would say it's worth it. When you're there, There's a lot of people around. You can ask people questions. There's a balance of enough safe people and people working. So even though there's some like spooky people out or whatever, there's always kind of somebody around. At least that was my experience, and people are willing to answer questions. Even I've got to say, in Colorado, it seems like some people are friendly, but it seems like a lot more are very cagey here in Colorado. Um, and I think because there's something, I don't know if it's the ground level ozone that's interfering with people's brain function, and it's just causing additional oxygen deprivation. And of course, the past couple of years of people practicing oxygen deprivation and the stress of the past couple of years. I don't know if it's just made people in Colorado more violent, but yeah, people do seem a little bit like some of the people do seem more scared here than I've seen in other places. And yet, on the other hand, some of the people I've met in Colorado have been super sweet, super friendly, super helpful. So it's very, excuse me, it's very extreme. It's like either the people are really just amazing, outstanding, friendly, or they're like looking for a fight, or they're really friendly and they're looking for a fight. Uh, yeah, I have seen that here. So I guess like bipolar, but I wonder if that is part of the drug stuff because 10 years ago or something, Colorado made pot legal. Then I just realized that without that kind of automatic restriction of access to drugs, it allowed addicts to do as much as they want, and then they would need more and more powerful pot in order to get the same level or, just feed their addiction. Like they just needed more and more and more. Because now, from what I've observed, is like they're using like this. They're kind of freebasing this concentrated pot now. They're not just like taking a flower, bud and putting it and burning it. It's like this whole other animal, and it's gross. It's like it seems like crack. It seems like hard drugs here. Even though it's like you think, oh, it's pot, but no, no. Like uh, so. Uh, so I do think that there's something you just do not want to live somewhere where they've legalized drugs, or maybe it's combined with the environment here of Colorado, maybe because it's the high altitude and that ground level ozone, maybe being part of a CIA, because this is a hub of the CIA, maybe like witchcraft covens and satanic stuff. That all affects the environment and people's responses. So, um, yeah, those are my thoughts. And yeah, I'm wondering if in certain cities where there's just no authority, no protection of people, if to lure the tourists in, are cities paying actors to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna ice skate here for an hour and bring our children, when the locals would never go, when the locals wouldn't bring their children, because I've been in cities and I'm like, I don't think you really want to be here at this time of day with your kid, from what I sense of things. So yeah, I wonder if people are paid actors to go ice skate or window shop or whatever in uh, in certain cities that don't really have much to offer other than maybe tourism, and that like city, yeah, like, or where things kind of close down, and because when I've lived in cities where things close, like shops closed 5, and yes, there were some restaurants that were open a little later, but I think um, yeah, I just was wondering about that. Like, because when and the thing is, these places were closing, the cafe closed and the shops closed, like closing at 5. Now, doesn't that not make sense? Because people are getting off work. I mean, like where I was, it was kind of the financial district. So the health food store closed at 5. Now, people are getting off work at 5. So it just didn't make sense to me, other than that the demons were getting out. Like 4 o'clock was when made sure to be inside in when I was in Rapid City, because things started getting sketchy at 4 o'clock. So when stores don't feel secure, because the police are not going to come and help if somebody's just being annoying nowadays, uh, and so yeah, when cities abandon their people, their locals, their um, store owners, uh, and then the the troublemakers know this, and they're just, and the thing is, a lot of troublemakers are three sheets to the wind. They are possessed. They are not in possession of their faculties. Like, they are under the control of demons. And I'm not saying that as a way to make an excuse or whatever, but like, folks, you got to wake up. Like these are not people who have a Judeo-Christian moral foundation, like the folks that are um, committing crimes. And when somebody is drunk and under the influence of drugs or whatever kind of addiction that they have, they are often harboring demons. So demons are going to do demonic things. Like, the worst things that we see going on in the world, a lot of it has to do with a demonic possession. So folks need to realize that we're in a supernatural world, a paranormal world, and it's one that is making war on Christian souls and prodigal sons and daughters of Lord Jesus Christ. So, well, I don't know if I lost my connection here, but I'll leave for now. Thanks for watching. God bless.